Great to have you all here. My name is Ryan Hogarth. I have the pleasure of hosting the first of our panel discussions today. And we're going to be talking about USB. Unique Speaker Bureau is in its 10th year, and so I suppose it's appropriate that trending on social media yesterday and today is the 10-year challenge, to have a picture of yourself 10 years ago and a picture of yourself today. So we're going to do that a little bit, get a sense of where USB was 10 years ago, where it is today, and where we are likely to go in the future. And I'm particularly pleased to be hosting this panel because my career has grown along with USB. I joined USB 9 years ago, a little over a year after it launched. And it was very good timing because at that time there weren't a lot of speakers clamoring to be represented by USB. So by today's standards, I may not have gotten through the door. But 9 years ago, I managed to slip in. And in the 9 years since then, we've seen, I've seen USB grow from the two people who were running it in 2010 to around 20 people today. And I've seen it become this global world-class speaker management agency. So we're going to get a little bit of a snapshot of what USB is all about. And representing the whole of USB, I have three people I'd like to now welcome on stage. Leanne Harwood, Brooke Rabi, and Yusuf Ismail. Please come on up. And, one of the things you hear a lot about at conferences is being pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. And for the three people on stage, this is very much one of those. They're a speaker management agency. They talk to speakers and clients all day, every day. But being on stage in front of large numbers of people, not really. So thank you very much for stretching yourselves beyond. And if I can ask the tech guys to please start the timer, that would be enormously helpful. All right, so let's get cracking. So Yusuf, I wanted to start with you with a question because I like, how long have you been with USB now?
Just under 2 years.
Just under 2 years. Now, you worked for an events company before coming to USB.
Yes, I did.
And in fact, you were one of my clients. You booked me, so thank you very much for that. So I was a little disappointed when you joined USB because I'm like, okay. But what's interesting for me is that you came from the eventing world. You put on events, you booked speakers, and now you're part of USB. So firstly, as a client, what did you enjoy about USB, and why did you decide, in terms of your career, to come and work at USB?
Well, Ryan, if you look at the speakers and the good-looking team at USB, why wouldn't I? But on a more serious note, so yes, I was in the events industry, and I loved every minute of it, from the planning, the conceptualization, the execution. But ultimately, that feeling you get when you're standing in the back of the room and the event is on, and you've got this deep accomplishment just on what you've put out there and how happy your client is. When I was on the other side, I obviously dealt with Simone at USB, and I always got this level of service where she would immerse herself into the event and not just try and tick the box and get me a speaker and be over and done with it. When I met with Paul, he took me through the journey of Build Better Conference, and I knew this was my calling. This was something I wanted to get into because towards the end of my career in the events, I felt the conferencing was just a bit too monotonous. So as the buzzword is today, I felt like disrupting the industry.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm privileged now to be part of that culture at USB where I can immerse myself into clients' briefs and still be part of the event industry to some degree.
All right, well, we're going to come back to you in a moment, Yusuf, because you're pretty much a systems guy, and you've introduced a number of awesome systems within USB to make the whole process of what USB does far better. So we're going to come back to you in the speaker portal. Okay, Brooke, now you're the marketing person, and you've been with you. I mean, I've seen you grow as a person and a member of the team for, 3, 4 years now?
It's about 3 years now.
3 years, that's amazing. Okay, so what I want you to look at is, there's a lot of bureaus around the world, within South Africa, all over. And USB took the move to say we're not just representing hundreds of speakers. We're not just having a menu of speakers. You've taken a very unique approach, which is to be a speaker management agency and have a management pool of speakers. What's the difference and why?
Well, the difference is that we pride ourselves on the relationships that we have with our speakers. And there's no other bureau out there that has the personal relationships that we do. And that's what actually makes us stand out. And we're constantly striving to build your brand locally and internationally. And yeah, I guess because of these relationships that we have with you, we're able to guarantee the perfect match at your conference.
Okay. So what interests me, or is an interesting fact, is that of the 20 people that are in USB, none of them have a background in a speaker bureau. So this has been built by, I guess almost from that point of view, sort of fresh eyes, without, sort of with no legacy. It's kind of, we're going to build something awesome and something amazing. Now this is my 9th showcase with USB. The first being in the beginning of 2011. It was out in the Magaliesberg somewhere. There were about 70 people in the audience, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, I loved it. I was all wide-eyed and starry-eyed looking at all these famous speakers who were there, but it was really small, and it's amazing to see how far it's become, and every year is better than the last. And, what we see here today is just stunning. Now, Leanne, you do events. This is your thing within USB. Well, amongst a few other things, but events are what you do. Now, a question that's often asked, and I think about, if you look at the production value of what's here today, is why is it free? There's a lot of good stuff here. Why are we making them pay?
We get asked that so often because a lot of companies go, no, we can't come for free because, what are you expecting from us? And most of it is we as a company want to add value and give our clients an experience, not just our speakers. Yes, the speakers get the opportunity to meet a number of different corporate clients, from the PCOs to the director to the event manager, but they don't really get to see you guys in a room. They book you off a video, and that's it. They read a bit of what your content is, but they don't really actually get to experience what it is you're going to do. And that is why we decided to do this for free. It's building the opportunity, giving you guys the chance to network and connect. Look, we don't expect anything. Obviously, we want you to book our speakers.
There are
so
things we want. Yeah.
But it's more about giving the experience and adding the value.
Well, what is unique about your position, and I realize, I guess somewhat deliberately, I keep using the word unique, but in your position is that you effectively have two sets of clients. We have the people in the room who are putting on events and looking at how do we build events and make them great, but then also speakers. You're dealing with all the egos that come with speakers. So in one sense, they're a client, and so are the people who book the speakers. And for me, this has always been a great opportunity for a bringing together of those two sets of clients, and so, okay, well, make the speakers happy by giving them some stage time, and the clients by getting exposed to what speakers do. But carrying on with that theme now, Leanne, USB made the decision last year to go global. And it all seemed to happen very quickly. Early in the year, it was, I think we need to go global. And by April, there were plans to hold a showcase in London. A number of speakers went. We all just grabbed the seat of our pants, and away we went. Why global? What does that mean, and where does it go to?
So yes, that idea did happen. It landed on my desk, and then it was, right, we're going global. And we did. Within 5 months, we were in London.
Amazing.
And it's about learning, because we want to build better conferences. It's how do we build better conferences if we don't know what's out there? So we're going to gain the knowledge, bringing it back, teaching our clients, and then our speakers get the opportunity to do the research and what's happening out there to be able to come back here and actually say, this is what we've learned, this is what we've experienced. So yes, this journey is still continuing. It's something very exciting. Like they said, we're going back to London in September, and we're doing Dubai in November. So it's a busy year, but we, haven't forgotten about you guys. Our Joburg and Cape Town and Durban is still a big focus for us, even though we're going global.
Okay, so the London experience was good enough that it wasn't, oh my gosh, why did we do this never again? It was, we got enough out of it that it was like, you know what, there's a lot more to do out there and to conquer. And I think I should say something, which is probably something you can't say, is like, as a speaker represented almost exclusively by USB and having been booked around the world, firstly, I have to say, for the quality of speakers that you're going to see today, having spoken around the world, the speakers we are cultivating and producing here in Africa are of a world standard. They really can be on any stage in the world and stand proudly. And then secondly, having had having dealt with other bureaus and agencies and people who've booked me, USB is a world-class bureau. And I think the world almost deserves to have USB out there and say, this is the kind of bureau you can deal with.
Okay.
So Leanne, you said you've got to go out there and see what's out there, and to learn, to experience, and see how we can grow. And we spoke about building a better conference. And Brooke, this is something for the last, probably the last 4 years, there have been whispers amongst speakers, amongst USBs, how do we make conferences better? And there was this idea of build a better conference. But in the last year and a half, 2 years, it's gained momentum. And it is now, probably stands at the center of what USB is trying to do, and a number of the speakers within USB are trying to do. So why don't you give us a sense of what this means? BBC, build a better conference. What is it?
Yeah, sure. Well, building better conferences is essentially about taking your conference to the next level. It's incorporating a great MC, keynote speaker or facilitator, pre-conference strategies, masterclasses and team thinking, which is about encouraging engagement with delegates and getting them to contribute on the day. There's conference TV, and there's also the USB Academy, which is giving back to the industry, helping speakers progress in their speaking careers, as well as just typical presenters to help them upskill themselves. And then there's lastly the post-conference strategy, unpacking the conference at the end of the day, making sure that it has you have increased the impact of the message, there's been a return on investment, and a consistent energy and flow. And that's what it's about.
So what does that look like for someone who's having a conference? Say, I've got a conference coming up in 4 months' time, and in most cases, I'm going to call USB looking for a speaker. I need someone on disruption, or a tech person, or change, or whatever. Who've you got? So that's the ordinary conversation.
Yeah.
So if I called you today and said I need a speaker on disruption, what is the answer to that? How does BBC get introduced into the conversation?
Well, I would say before even finding out if you need a speaker, to get in touch with us the moment you know you have a conference. In fact, we have a client that I'd like to share a story about. She came to us in the early conceptual phase of her conference and was interested in finding out the key elements of BBC. And so we told her the first step is getting a great MC, keynote speaker or facilitator. And then we met with her chosen industry speakers and gave them tips and advice on how to improve their presentation skills and move away from death by PowerPoint. And we received a great response from them, actually. They were pleased to know that they were going to actually leave a longer lasting impact at the conference. And then from there, we told her to then actually start using masterclasses and team thinking, which, like I said, encouraged engagement, as well as technology, which is conference TV, which is creating a production team comes to your conference and films the entire day, providing you with material that will allow you to play it back to the delegates to reinforce the message, and also to share with those that weren't there so they know what happened that day. And in fact, Lynn is here today. If Lynn wouldn't mind just standing up and giving us a wave. Oh, great. Thanks, Lynn. And she's very happy to speak to you at the tea break about her experience, and we look forward to seeing the turnout.
Brilliant. Okay, so you mentioned masterclasses, and we're going to come back to that because I think that's an important element. Sure. But I want to move to you quickly, Yusuf, about... So you've introduced a number of systems, and probably the most ambitious has been the speaker portal, which seems to have had a long gestation period and a long labor period. So first, I think, tell us, what is the speaker portal, and when are we going to see it?
Okay, so let's start with when we're going to see it. We're actually launching it today. So yeah, we're opening the gates to you guys.
Well, you know what, we're going to applaud that because... And recognizing that you're applauding something you don't know what you're applauding for just yet, but it is an amazing thing because it's been a long time coming. So tell us what it is, Joseph.
So when we developed the speaker portal, we obviously firstly looked at the main challenges that event planners face when they're trying to search for a speaker. We also understand the event planning cycle and know that many of our clients or our clients' clients firstly want a guesstimate of the speaker's availability, time, and obviously the scope of their talk. The magic in the portal is obviously where you can set the characteristics for each event. And this includes setting the characteristics by means of the archetype theory to match the event host's needs as well as the audience's needs. Event audiences respond more to not what the speaker is saying, but how they say it and who the speaker is. So the portal will almost guarantee you to match the right speaker for your conference and to meet the needs of the audience.
So what you're saying there is that, so if I can search for a particular speaker, like, okay, I'm looking for, I don't know, Ryan Hogarth, and so I can go ahead and find it right there. Or I need a speaker that, I don't know who I'm looking for necessarily, but so how does that work? That if I'm not sure who I want, how does it tell me who would be best for me?
Correct. So this is my Tom Cruise moment where I get to take out my toys. And yes, we kept this a secret for over a year because we wanted to unveil it in 2019. And these three things set the speaker portal apart from any other search engine out there. So firstly, there's multiple ways to search for a speaker. You can search for a speaker by name, or you can search by price, and then you can search by their topic. So if you know that your conference is on disruption or you need a sales speaker, you can search via that. And then the final one is via the archetype theory. So for example, if you're looking, your conference theme is an outlaw, or it's a jester, or you're going for a lover, you can search for a speaker based on those personalities. And it's not just something where we told the speakers, okay, what personality do you think you fit into? It was a brand personality test that they had to each take that gave them their sets of archetypes. That's the one. Then the other two, which is my favorite, is when you register.
And sorry, is there some, because the archetype theory can be a bit complex if you don't know it and understand it. So is the portal going to kind of guide you through, like what these personalities are?
Correct. So on the portal, you'll see the last search facility is an archetype search, and it gives you an explanation of what each archetype is. So even if you don't know what theme you want to go for your conference, it's also an amazing tool to use to see, okay, maybe we should go this year with an outlaw approach. Or a hero approach for our conference. So it will help you actually set a theme for your conference as well.
It drives off emotion.
Correct. Because that's what initially it sells and ultimately sells to people. You sell to people's emotions. The second part of it is that when you register a profile, the portal will ask you to upload your logo or your corporate identity. And once you've done that, it will brand the entire portal with your corporate identity. So yes, our clients can use the portal and take all the credit for it.
So why is that useful? I mean, it sounds amazing. So it's white labeled and I can have my branding on it. Where am I using that and why is that helpful?
So when we held the narrative inquiry workshop at the end of 2017, and we asked our clients, listen, if you could have your one-stop shop, your dream where you could just go to a place and find speakers, what would it look like? And 70% of them came back to us and said, listen, if we could have a portal that we could take to our clients and sit with them and go through it and plan our conference from the conceptualization stage, that would be our dream. So we looked into it and we know that some of our events planners are really, looking for the right word, protective of their clients.
Yes.
And that's when we came up with the idea that if we could have a portal that could be branded and white labeled, the minute you register a profile, they could use that for their clients. The other aspect of it was where they said, listen, it takes us a lot of time to put together proposals. So even though the USB team sends us everything, which is amazing, we've still got to put it together. This is another problem that the portal solves for you. When you shortlist your speakers, it will automatically create a PowerPoint for you that can be emailed to your client, or it can be downloadable as well, with your corporate identity infused into the PowerPoint. So yes, no more late nights and leaving your man or lady hanging.
Wow, okay, so...
But it's also available 24/7. So if you are doing that proposal at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's available.
Very good point. A portal that doesn't go on leave.
No,
Excellent.
it doesn't.
So how do we get there?
So you basically just need to visit speakerportal.com, and you can register a profile online.
Okay, and I'm assuming there's a link to it through the USB website?
Correct.
So through the USB website or speakerportal.com. And then before we leave this topic, why would USB USB is renowned for, known for, and loved for its relationships and the relationships we have with customers and that one-on-one understanding what you need. Why would we introduce technology into that?
So we want to obviously be there for our clients at any time that they need us, but we've also noticed that we're moving into the new technological era, and people want to get things done quicker, faster, and at their own time. So the portal will basically give you the tools that you can use to search for a speaker as well as book them. So from the time you search for them, you can shortlist them, you can show them to your managers, and you can book them online as well. At every step of the stage.
Can you pay for them online?
You can pay for them online, yes.
Not bad, okay.
So yes, at every stage you will have an assigned agent as well. So we're not just leaving you in the lurch. There will be an assigned agent to you if you want to pick up the phone and just chat to an agent, see that you're on the right track, or if they've got any input for you, there will be an agent assigned to you at all times.
Okay, brilliant. All right, so Brooke, let me ask you this question, because USB is all about this build a better conference thing, and we've got all these great ideas, conference TV and interventions and masterclasses, all of these things. How is that different to what a PCO does? I mean, is it an area we're trying to get into, or
No.
Because there might be a question there.
No, not at all. We're not at all trying to take the place of a conference organizer. We're simply just an extra body in the room, coming to the meeting with you, helping and providing advice and expertise from the conceptual phase, and making sure that the content that is discussed that day is relayed back to the speakers.
Okay, and maybe it's what I've come to see is that speakers are great with content. We're content specialists, and I think maybe that's something we're bringing in and that's all we're responsible for, I guess, or wanting to. When we talk about building a better conference, it's taking the content and making it outstanding to build on the remarkable things being done around the conference. So, masterclasses.
Yes.
What is a masterclass and why?
Well, masterclasses are a way of taking the expertise of the speakers into the organization. Speakers often come to us and they say that clients have said to them that they wish that they could be working in the organization with them. And so basically what's happened there is a speaker has ignited a certain level of thinking from the stage, and delegates are worried that the message is going to die the very next day. So by incorporating masterclasses or team thinking interventions, you're able to drive the message into the organization, and that's for a deeper level of learning. And
are these activities happening sort of with a speaker in the business after the conference?
Yes, that can happen, or it can happen at a conference day where the conference breaks out into breakaway sessions.
Okay. All right, well, now let's talk more events, Leanne. Today is the first big showcase of the year. I'm assuming it doesn't stop here. What's in store for the rest of 2019?
So normally we do breakfast throughout the year because it gives our speakers more than just the 5 or the 7 minutes on stage. This year we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. We actually going to be having lunch and learns once a week. So there'll be a speaker on a certain topic that clients can actually come and see for an hour. So you actually just get to spend time with that one speaker every week, a different speaker, which gives
every week?
Every week.
Wow,
I know.
Okay.
So it's
a standing date.
Yes.
Yep.
So we want to be able to give the speaker more time with the clients, but also the clients more time with the speaker to understand.
So that's one speaker at a time rather than 3 or 4.
Yes.
Okay.
To make it a little bit more in-depth, more the learning, where they can do their masterclasses or their team thinking or their keynote.
And when does that start?
Starting in Feb.
Starts in Feb. Am I scheduled for one of those?
I have you down for one.
Okay, good, very good. All right, and beyond that, anything else?
No, so that's where we.
And what about the other showcases? I mean, everyone's here in Joburg, where we do have.
Yes. So on the 28th of Jan, we're doing Cape Town. Same thing, same stage, same lighting. We're going again, same speakers, and then Durban will be exactly the same thing. So it's going to be a busy Jan, and that's why we're starting.
So January is always let's get the year under control.
We found that a lot of our clients have come back to us and said, if we do a showcase in the middle of the year, they've already made the decisions at the beginning of the year, so they miss out on speakers they could have used. So
and I know from experience, the worst thing is the speakers go, oh, you would have been perfect. That's just very sad. All right, fine. So as we come to the end of this, starting with you, Yusuf, what for you, what's an important message for you as part of the USB team? What message would you like to deliver? And a call to action, like you say, okay, you guys should do this.
So the ideology behind the speaker portal is to take out the paperwork and the admin from booking a speaker. This is just phase one. Our vision is to provide you with an experience more than just a speaker. So yes, hashtag paperwork must fall.
All right. Direct and to the point. Well done. All right, Brooke, so tell us about you, what you're passionate about. I know that the idea of almost closing the gap as much as possible between USB and clients is a big thing for you.
Yes.
So give us your closing ambit on that.
Well, as the marketing communications manager, I'm constantly striving to bridge that gap between what you're thinking and what we think you're thinking. So basically just making sure we're always on the same page when it comes to what we do and what we offer. And what I love about my job is that I get to tell stories on a daily basis, whether it's online or through promotional activities or just being up on the stage here with my colleagues. And it's a great feeling. I mean, if I was to be on that show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I had that option to call a friend, I would win every time. So, yeah, and I get to be part of some of the greatest conferences around the world. It's a very fulfilling feeling.
All right, and I guess being on this side of it, I mean, I agree with. I can see that from being one of your clients as a speaker. Interacting with USB is an amazing experience, and the constant effort to, how do we market our speakers better? How do we get your content out there more? How do we? So it is. As a speaker, it's remarkable, and I haven't. Dealt much with other bureaus. I mean, USB has been sort of my family for all the time I have been. But it is an amazing experience from my point of view. So I guess on behalf of all the speakers, thank you very much for what you're doing. And Leanne, your closing statement.
So because we pride ourselves so much on building relationships, putting these events together is not always easy, and it's always good to have the right partners in the room. So we have 4 partners with us that helped us put all of this together. So we really are grateful to Inspire Furniture for bringing in the furniture. There's Silent Events, who you will be seeing soon. It's going to be very exciting. You don't want to miss it. They're going to show you some cool technology on how to work with our speakers. To Lumi app for sponsoring the app, working with us. This is their 3rd year, so it's been a really good partnership. And then to Multimedia, who helped us put this together. They have put so much effort and time into this. It was 2 days of amazing work that you see here. Thank you very much. Angelique is here. She'll be wearing a white T-shirt with the Multimedia logo. She's happy to chat to you during the break and during the networking session to tell you how she can incorporate this or something smaller or even bigger to your event. So have a chat to her. They are here. Every single person from the partners are here. So please, they are waiting to chat to you.
So that's Lumi for the app.
It's Inspire Furniture.
Inspire Furniture for the furniture.
And
Multimedia for this.
And Cameron, who will be here during the break for Silent Events.
Silent Events. And I think you're going to enjoy that experience, and you'll learn more about it later. And I know Multimedia have also got a little bit of a surprise or a thing that's happening to, I think, showcase what you see here. But this is stunning. It's been slightly, almost distracting to sit here and see myself up there in high resolution. It's looking good. Okay, good. So, USB started 10 years ago. And it began its life under a tree in a Lapa with a conversation between Michael Jackson and Paul McConnell. And it started with a vision, an idea where the selling of speakers, the speakers collaborating to do something amazing was possible, that there was a better way to bring to the world this idea of a speaker bureau. And And in the 10 years that it's been around, it certainly has done that. And so I want to thank you for what you've done, and for the three of you for stretching yourselves out of your comfort zone to get up on stage and represent the broader group of USB and the USB team. So thank you very much. Yusuf Ismail, Brooke Rabi, and Leanne Harwood.